Aloha, you're watching the Plixer Demo Series. I'm Peter, and today I'm thrilled to have someone I actually just met for the first time, Adam Boeckmann. He's the SE manager here at Plixer. And one of the topics today I thought we'd talk about was Plixer's replicators. But before we get into that, nice to see you, Adam. Thanks for joining me. Tell me a little bit about what you do here.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here. So I manage the solutions engineers here at Plixer, which means, you can, as you think about it from the sales perspective, we're doing demos, we're talking to customers, we're going to trade shows, right? So all anything that has to do with interfacing with customers and talking the technical talk, that's kind of falls into my realm.
Sweet. And the topic today is replicator, of course. Now, I understand that this was developed back in 2012, right before the explosion of cloud adoption. So can you bring us up to speed a little bit on the origin story of replicator?
Yeah, for sure. So, one cool thing is Plixer has been around for a very long time, right? 1999, I think timeline shows 1999, right? That's when we first came out. And we were the first web-based network monitoring tool that took advantage of NetFlow. NetFlow, as you're all aware, is a UDP stream that comes from exporters, switches, routers, et cetera, to provide network telemetry information about the traffic that passes through those exporters. And even today, there's a limitation as to how many destinations those devices can send that telemetry to. So the replicator was really born as a way to not only feed our product, but also simplify that configuration process and allow you the flexibility of feeding other solutions as well.
Yeah, right. And when you say destination, those would be those collectors that the data ends up after the NetFlow gets
anything that wants to ingest the NetFlow or IPFIX or SFlow or and even today it goes well beyond NetFlow. I mean, it works on anything UDP. So we have customers today that use it for Syslog or anything UDP based.
So in this situation, instead of the Syslogs, the NetFlows, the SFlows, SNMP, instead of going to the collectors directly, they would then go to replicator, right? And then replicator would kind of be a packet broker and forward those on while keeping the source address intact, right? So that those analytics, the management devices, the visualization, the observability tools can know exactly where and what particular device on the other side was sending that traffic.
Absolutely spot on there, Peter. Yeah, that's exactly what it does, right? It becomes the configured destination for all your UDP. So your NetFlow, your IPFIX, SFlow, et cetera, Syslog, all get sent to the replicator. And then the replicator think of like ACL style rules, right? You define we call them profiles. You define a profile that's going to tell the replicator where to forward that traffic onto. And then from there, as you said, it looks like it's coming from the original source. So the collector or whatever is receiving ultimately that telemetry thinks as if it's coming from the original source.
Nice. Pretty sweet. So for organizations, it gives them probably a lot of good benefits, right? Just a single spot to manage where all that data is coming in through and then sending them out. And I also understand, right? Most of those devices that are sending the NetFlow data, they can only send it to like one, maybe two destinations as it is. So even if you had multiple collectors, they still could only send it to one to deal with it anyway, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And that was initially the primary reason it was developed. Even today, though, there's still usually a limitation on the number of destinations or collectors that any one particular exporter can send that telemetry to. Now, it varies vendor to vendor, but there is usually a limitation.
Right. Cool. Now, one of the things we were talking about, too, is just how easy to set it up. So I pulled up the GUI for you here. You want to walk us through how it gets set up, how it's configured, and then the type of metrics you get afterward?
Yeah, let's do it. So as I said, it's a very simple tool, right? I mentioned the ACLs or profiles, right? That's kind of what it drives off of, how it makes the decision on what to forward. So I'm going to start there. I'm going to jump right into the configuration, show you how simple it is to set up. I have a profile tab. This is where you define those rules. I've got two defined already. I'm just going to create a new one though. We're just going to go from scratch. So if I click this plus button, it brings up a little prompt for me and says, all right, give it a name, right? So let's say in this case, I want Syslog. just going to name it Syslog. I'm not too creative. I'm an engineer, so we'll call it Syslog. What port I wanted to come in on? Well, 514 is the common port for Syslog. I'm going to keep that, but you can make it whatever. Port I wanted to out on. Again, I'm not creative. I'm going to keep it on 514. But there are situations that may arise where you want it to go out on a different port. Maybe there's a tool that only wants to ingest it on a particular port that's different from other tools that want this stream. You can absolutely accommodate that here, right?
Got it.
We'll go ahead and save that. And then what that does is it creates this profile for me. Now, in this profile, adding destinations is super simple. There's another plus button down here. I punch in the IP address of where I want it to go, save it, and I'm done, right? By default, this profile will automatically forward all 514 traffic to this destination. That's the default behavior. Now, if there was a reason why I wanted to limit maybe which sources were being forwarded on, I can absolutely tune that by adding exporters in here and starting to define that as well, right? So I can absolutely limit what gets forwarded. But it's, again, super simple to set up. That's it. I'm off and running. Syslog is now being sent to this device. One thing I do want to mention, though, that I find a lot of customers really enjoy with this is the fact that you have this in a single configuration pane. Means that if at some point you need to add a new tool that wants to ingest Syslog or NetFlow or IPFIX or any UDP stream, rather than spending all the man hours of going through and reconfiguring your exporters, it's a one-stop shop right here, right? You come in, you configure it, 30 seconds later, you're off to the races, right? So it saves a lot of time, a lot of cost there as well, right?
And
now,
so go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, once this is configured, there are status tabs to show you kind of how everything looks, right? That's most of the tabs at the top are status based. You see, I had a little 1 pop up here. Yep. That tells me there's a profile with an alarm because I don't have 514 listening on this device, right? So it does monitor as well. So there is some error checking involved. It can generate alarms or status checks when either an exporter goes down or a collector goes down, right? So again, you get that information. Hey, something went down. We can go take a look at it. Super simple.
That's interesting because it was going to be one of my questions, right? Because, you can kind of keep an eye on ports and protocols, and maybe you might have, for whatever reason, decided, no, we don't want 514 coming through. And obviously it'll tell you right there, whoa, you may or may not be able to pass it through. So, maybe do an additional check. The other question I had is within the profile, right? You can add both multiple receivers and then ultimately destinations.
Absolutely. There's no limitation to the number you can add here. So in these collectors, I could come through and I could add as many as I want. We'll add this guy as well. Right now, I've got 2 destinations that they're going off to. I can add a third, a fourth, go on, so on and so forth. The same is true for the exporter, Peter. Again, right now I've got it configured to automatically add as it comes in, so just dynamically adds new stuff as it sees it. But you can define that as well if you want to.
Cool. And then what are some of the metrics and stats that a customer would see, and what might it tell them?
Yeah, so we do have a dashboard. Again, a lot of status information here. This gives you an overall kind of snapshot, a running snapshot of total flow and packets through the appliance. Now, these appliances are if you virtualize it, are fairly small. I'm thinking like roughly 2 cores and 4 gigs of RAM, so they're tiny footprints, but they can handle gigabits of traffic. So this gives you an indication of kind of where it's at load wise, and then from here you can obviously how much is actually going through, and then your streams, exporters, and collectors are all kind of break that down into what's the status of each stream that's coming through. So all my NetFlow streams, my Syslog streams are all listed out here. Again, they'll error out if there's an issue with the stream. Collectors is we looked at that already. That's what's receiving the traffic. If it's not reachable, this lights up as well, right? So a lot of good status and metrics just to make sure that everything's operating as it should be, and you get alarms when it's not.
And also, I understand you can actually you can put a couple replicators. You can load balance the Plixer ones powered by Scrutinizer if you want to send it over there too. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, that's one of the neat things is when paired with the Plixer One solution, this actually has the power to load balance your flows coming into multiple collectors, because the the Plixer One solution, is a network NetFlow visibility tool. And so you can, as you grow, have multiple collectors to help scale up your ingestion. And this will automatically kind of decide where flows go without input from you, so that you can scale as you need to. It makes it really, really easy to maintain.
Pretty cool. So you get, reducing network overhead by optimizing the traffic distribution, improving the security monitoring by ensuring, right, the right tools get the data that they need, and then obviously enhancing the network performance by delivering only that necessary data to the specific solutions, bandwidth, storage, all of those ancillary costs that come with it.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Thanks a lot, Adam.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thanks for having me, Peter.
Did you have fun?
A blast.
All right. And if you had fun watching this kind of content, please hit that like, subscribe, and certainly share. If you got engineer friends that may need a UDP replicator, the Plixer Replicator is the perfect solution. And as Adam mentioned, certainly one of the OGs when it comes to ingesting NetFlow and then making sure that the appropriate destinations and collectors get it. Sweet. Good meeting you, Adam. I appreciate
Alan's my dad's name. It's all good.
coming on the Plixer Demo Series. So for my new pal, Adam, running the SE organization, I'm Peter, and we're with Plixer. Thanks for watching.